SmackDown and Raw have both dropped major headlines this week, and we're going to try our best to break down all the biggest talking points from a hectic pair of shows. But we are fresh off the heels of Monday Night Raw, so we will get to the Orton stuff, don't worry. But let's start with Monday Night Raw. Daniel, we missed you last week. Let's throw straight to you and get your thoughts on Monday Night Raw.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just thought it was a really good episode of Raw. Overall feeling was that there was no wasted motion. It felt like everything has some sort of significance. Dare I say it, even the Natty and Maxine stuff. No, it was a really good episode, and there was a few really good points coming out of it that I was like, oh, now I'm, interested.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of sort of headline moments that I thought were great. A couple of other bits that I thought, okay, that's good, but not maybe at its heights that it's hit before, which I'm sure we'll get into.
I really enjoyed it from the start. Literally glued on from the start straight away.
We will get to the start, believe me.
But overall, yeah, it's great Raw. I really enjoyed this one.
So shall we start at the start, boys? Does that make the most sense? So, Seth Rollins, the babyface, enters with masked goons again. He gets on the microphone this time and says he's created the vision and he's going to be the one to kill it. We got Paul Heyman coming out doing his best method acting stuff, which we haven't seen for a little while, of him looking all bloodshot and all disheveled. And he says FAFO, FAF5, which, despite my feelings on Paul Heyman, I loved that line. I thought that was fantastic. Brock Lesnar comes out, cleans house, takes out every single masked goon, and then is left face to face with the Visionary. And then Oba Femi's music hits, and down he struts, and he destroys Brock Lesnar. One move, fall from grace, foot on chest, and points at the WrestleMania sign. I think you can tell just from the way I'm describing it, I absolutely loved this segment.
Seeing all the masked minions come out again is just like, do we really want this again? And then Seth Rollins had to kind of say something to make it sound like it's not just running around and confusing everybody again like last time. But then Paul Heyman, like he said, the FAFO, F5 kind of made it think, oh, right. So there's a little backup. And then Lesnar coming out. I love it when he comes out and clears house. It's just one of the best moments every time I see Lesnar go wild like that. And Oba Femi is just, that's one that we were saying we really wanted him to fight. So now we've got it.
And it's been confirmed, I think, during this episode of Raw, the match graphic came up, and we do have Brock Lesnar versus Oba Femi at WrestleMania. You talked about him cleaning house there, Sanjay, like that. That is when I really enjoy Brock Lesnar. Like, I'm not as high as you two on him generally, but you can't beat him just chucking goons about. Some of the bumps they were taking.
There was some gnarly looking throws.
Oh, the ones on the stairs. I think there was one on the stairs, particularly that even the commentators, you felt them just go, oh God. And you just think these poor guys, and I wonder if in Lesnar's mind, like if they're wearing a mask and they're just a goober, they literally could not matter less. So I am just going to chuck them about. Yeah, I'd much rather that from Lesnar than him stand there and waste TV time as he did a few weeks ago.
I didn't like some of the stuff surrounding Rollins. It just felt weird. Like even the start where they had like this masked animation, which then turned into Rollins. And I was like, get on with it. Why does he need these? I saw this sort of satirical take on it, and it was kind of like Seth Rollins comes out with the putty men,
I saw this same take. Yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Because they're even acting like putties from the Power Rangers.
And they fall as easily as well.
Yeah. And then you've got Zombie Heyman coming out. I thought Rollins was really good. And I don't mind the all black. It's a nice change from what we've been seeing from Rollins for years. I just feel like you probably need to step away from the silliness a little bit. I thought Heyman was really good. I did wonder, did he like squeeze an orange in his eye or something? Like, yeah, it
I
was
had much filthier ideas of how he might have obtained the
right.
pink eye that he was coming out with, but we
But no,
won't go there.
and then Brock was. I was concerned for a minute or two because I had that feeling that Brock would come out, and then ultimately when he sort of did the F5 line and he did, I was like, cool. My concern then was that they were going to run Rollins and Brock
Yes.
back for Mania. Brock himself, I thought, just looked incredible. And just that stalk around the ring before he finally gets to them guys, it's just, there's very few people that demand that sort of attention that Brock does. But that was excellent. And then I don't think there's enough good things to say about the Oba entry. I was ready for Rollins and Brock at that point, and then I don't think anything was said, any action was taken. It was just boom, straight into Oba, and I'm like, oh, okay, killer opening segment.
You've described it perfectly there. I think that kind of echoes my feelings exactly. The Rollins stuff, he's delivering it well. Like he delivers a solid promo, but he's supposed to be a babyface, right? We're supposed to be receiving him as a returning babyface come back to kill the Vision. You don't do that with putties, to borrow that same take. Like, and he was stood there cackling while Brock Lesnar was taking them all out, and I'm thinking, who's the heel here? Who's the babyface and who's the heel? It was bizarre, and I was feeling similarly to what you've described. Of thinking, okay, Lesnar Rollins was rumored, and it makes sense, I guess, with the Heyman connection. But I was kind of holding out for Oba Femi, and then when that music did hit, it was a lovely moment.
And what a response.
My God. And the crowd swell of support for Oba, it's undeniable at this point, and they're just adding little touches. I loved that because he's already got the Goldberg singing, if you like, the Oba, but then this week just an additional Oba, who. I was just like wanting to reach through the screen and just like be there. He is a megastar waiting to happen.
I think one thing just on the tail end of it that really stood out to me, and I would never say this to his face because he'd probably eat me. But then, like, I was watching it going, I think deep down Oba's a big teddy bear, because you saw that tear coming from his eye, and I was just like, maybe he really was swept up in the emotion of, holy crap, I'm about to go up against Brock at Mania. This is really special. I imagine it's not lost on him the fact that Brock's just allowed him to do this. And let's be honest, Brock wouldn't probably do that for a lot of people. To really have that moment against Brock is a real star-making moment. So I think, I could completely understand why he might have been overwhelmed by it. And it actually made me really admire or appreciate Oba a lot more than I did just this time last week, or even just at the start of the segment. I think it will go a long way to sort of people really responding even better to him.
I think they've lit the touch paper at this point, and it's just full steam ahead from here. And as you say, Lesnar allowing, because you imagine Lesnar does have a great deal of say, even if not over what the creative direction is going to be. He himself will be very clear. If he doesn't want to do something, or if he doesn't feel good about it, we'll have an Ambrose situation where that whole feud was just kind of binned off. And when we were first talking about Oba and Lesnar, I guess part of me feared, what if Lesnar's not in the mood? And this hopefully will have, like, pennies will have dropped all over the place of this is magic. And the feeling I got, and the crowd reaction to, oh my God, he's just put his foot on his chest.
Yeah.
And you just like that is a must see Mania match.
I also feel like Lesnar in that moment sort of had a second or two where he's like, holy shit. Great start to that feud.
And it was the highlight of Raw for me. I know we'll go through the rest of the show, I'm sure, but massive highlight. So I might throw to you in a minute, Daniel, because I think you've been watching AAA. Is that right? You watched the most recent.
Watched it over the weekend. I don't watch AAA that often, but I'll tune in on some of the bigger shows.
They're doing a good job on the main show as well of putting little highlights in, which I think is going to funnel people in that direction.
But it was a good show on the weekend. I assume you're going into the El Grande match.
I certainly am.
I think for me, like, I was watching it because I also Googled like what the Hispanic population of San Antonio was. So I was quite curious as to why it was getting a really good response. And it did get a really good response, I thought.
The El Grande's match on Raw. Yeah, I've got it written down here that it was the most over of their combination I've seen.
Yeah. But I think it's something like 65-ish to 68% Hispanic. It kind of makes sense being so south. But even just throwing back to the AAA on the weekend, he was massive, El Grande.
The Kaiser version.
The Kaiser one. Well, the Kaiser one, not the Chad one. To the point where I'm sitting there going, I finally sort of asked myself why. And it's sort of the answers that I was getting online were, it's because he's not a caricature like Gable has been. It's mocking lucha history. Whereas what Ludwig Kaiser has done is he's embraced it. He's learned Spanish.
Right, exactly.
Sort of respected lucha tradition. And the Mexican sort of wrestling crowds have really responded to him well as a result. And I think that's sort of, because it is quite south as well, you know, it's very close to Mexico, very Hispanic crowd, that sort of carried over a little bit to Raw. So it was really smart, I think, to have this match in San Antonio.
It made such a difference, as you say, it actually being a bit hotter with the crowd, because the past few weeks, every time they've come together, it's kind of been a bit crickets.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. I think they've obviously left somewhere to go with the way it finished with, I don't know whether it was Rayo or Bravo. I liked that touch of it being somebody else slipping the metal into the mask and it being Gable managing to hit that headbutt. But I wonder whether they keep it going and we're going to get mask versus mask at WrestleMania, or does it go to the next big AAA show? I mean, it's time for Gable to come back, as we've said at length.
The thing is, I feel like it should be done on AAA. Based on what I saw on the weekend, I feel like it should be done on AAA.
That's where it's going to get the biggest.
Yeah, but if you're going to get Gable back, that feels like it should be a Raw thing, if you know what I mean. It's a really fine line. I think Kaiser, based on what I saw and what I've seen, I think he's going to be quite a popular figure in Mexico going forward.
But you're right that he's gone full on. His whole self has now become, he's getting more TV time on the various shows than he ever did as a Ludwig Kaiser,
It sort of ties into the Gunther thing as well, because both of them respect the industry. They expect tradition and history.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you go, well, he's respected it so much that the country of choice has actually become really fond of him.
Yeah. He's reaping what he sows in the best possible way,
Good on him.
Sanjay, what did you make of the Americanos clash on Raw?
I generally do like their feud. I do feel like the matches was actually pretty much decent matches, but this one, because of the crowd, it made you feel like, oh shit, it actually is a great match rather than just how it was in the last few weeks. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I just can't wait for Chad Gable to come back as Chad Gable and just drop the mask already.
Yeah, certainly. I hope that we're just a matter of weeks away now from whichever show it happens on, that mask will come off and we'll get our Gable back. But yeah, we'll move on now to the first women's match of the night, which was AJ Lee and Bayley for the Intercontinental Championship. Nice back and forth match. I thought this match got better the longer it went, and I think I would say that generally for AJ Lee right now, so it seems to be taking her, I don't know how we would measure it, maybe one commercial break to get her rhythm perhaps after it's been so long. And by the end I was really invested in this, and AJ Lee taps out Bayley to retain.
I think since AJ Lee came back, I think this was the best match. I just think, as you
Yeah.
said, it took a bit of a while, but halfway through the match is when she had built that momentum and it was actually going from a match that was okay to like, actually, yes, a good match. Because obviously Bayley as well in the mix. That's one of the matches we never got to see before. And then I'm actually glad Becky Lynch came back. So it's funny to see that she still ain't given up. She still ain't gotten over the fact that AJ Lee's been beating her for 6 months. But
It's tricky, isn't it? Because I think, like you say, there was something about this match that felt better. And I think it was because it was a fresh opponent. I think we've had AJ Lee, Becky, and as great as that's been, AJ Lee's back for presumably a limited amount of time. So let's get her in the ring with all these people that we want to see her with. And I think they're telling a really good story with Bayley at the moment. They've kind of backed away from the crazy Bayley storyline that they seemed to be heading towards a few months back. And now she's just... she's had a rough run of luck and she's really worried that she's going to miss WrestleMania again. And yeah, I thought it was really nice to have a different pairing with AJ Lee. We do need the payoff with Becky. I thought it was great to see Becky back looking really focused and serious. That intensity of that beatdown. And we're surely heading to the final chapter of that little rivalry at WrestleMania. Daniel, good match for you?
Yeah, really good. I think I agree with Sanjay. I think it was probably AJ's best match since her return. I'm trying to remember exactly. I probably need to rewatch the tag match because I remember that being quite fun. But
it was fun, but it was long, if memory serves.
Yeah.
It could have done with being maybe 10 minutes even off it.
But yeah, I think this was definitely. I feel like she'll better it, but this was a really solid match. I don't want to discount AJ Lee, but I think a lot of the credit probably goes to Bayley. I feel like she's just a really underrated performer. And I just love Bayley. She's excellent. She had a good weekend. Talking about AAA before, she had a good weekend there. She got a massive response. And yeah, 2 really good matches in the space of 2-3 days.
Well, she would be on the show a bit later on. We might as well touch on it now with Lyra. Had a segment with the Kabuki Warriors where all 4 of them seemed to go, oh yeah, we're tag teams. Should we try and get the tag team titles? Which was an odd segment, but it did give me hope that we are, please, we are finally, hopefully getting our big old tag team multi-woman title match at WrestleMania. I did think that Bayley and Lyra looked a little stupid because it seemed to be like Asuka and Kairi talking about tag team stuff made them suddenly go, oh yeah, should we have a go? Should we do that? Maybe the booking of that could have been a little tighter.
It was a bit OTT, but not to the extent of Lyra of old. I mean, I'm happy if they're in a tag match at Mania. I'm just not sure I want to see a TLC if Nia Jax and Lash Legend are involved. I really like their work. I'm just a bit. I really like.
Are you
Nia
worrying
Jax.
for people's safety? Is that what's happening?
Potentially, I don't know.
If it was the Nia Jax of 5 years ago, then yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but I'd be really interested to see where they go with it.
Match of the night came next. I think for me was Penta and Dragon Lee. Awesome match, and another really, really good week for Dragon Lee. He's having a great 2026, and I hope that there's more to come from him. Just awesome high spots in this match. Penta beats Dragon Lee, but there's obviously the show of respect afterwards. Penta's on a good run with the Intercontinental title. It's nice that he's defending it and having that I'm going to be a fighting champion attitude.
I think not calling it an open challenge is probably smart as well, because otherwise I don't need an open challenge on both shows. But yeah, regularly defending it is a good idea.
You're bringing up open challenge. I don't think I've spoken on this pod before about the SmackDown open challenge. The concept of it is great. What they've been doing with it for the past few months has been anything but an open challenge. Because an open challenge, right, is champion stands there in the ring and goes, right, who's coming down? Whereas we seemingly have had months of like Dragunov first, and now Carmelo Hayes being like, it's an open challenge, but not you. I'll fight anyone, not you. I think, well, it's not an open challenge, then, is it? But anyway, that's a rant for maybe another day. Sanjay, did you enjoy Penta and Dragon Lee?
Yeah, I think it was a good match, great match. Because I think when you watch Penta's matches, they're always entertaining. It's always a good match. But then with the mix of Dragon Lee, it's actually really, really nice to see them both work together like that.
Some of the kicks, especially in this match, were really, really solid. Really, you could feel them almost. And I think it was Dragon Lee that did a kind of like swanton suicide dive onto the announce table. And yeah, I always think it's great when you can hear genuine "this is awesome" chants from a crowd, and not just "this is the bit where we chant this is awesome," like in that kind of performative way. It was a real, oh my God, we want these two to just keep fighting and fighting.
I thought the Mexican Destroyer at the end looked incredible. It was just so smooth and so quick. And the way that he was clearly out on his feet and bounced against the ropes before he bounced down, I just went, oh, that was just a thing of beauty.
A lovely, lovely touch. That I loved that little bounce off the ropes. That's 2 weeks in a row with Penta's Destroyer, because last week I think he did like a springboard version of the Destroyer. So yeah, Penta's stock continues to rise and rise and rise. So before we started recording, and I think maybe Daniel, before you were on the call, Sanjay confessed something to me that he actually loved Natty. No, he didn't. Do you want to tell everybody, Sanjay, what you told me about Natty and Maxine?
Well, as soon as I saw Maxine's name on the Titantron, I just kind of skipped that whole match. So I did not watch the match. I didn't really want to, but I thought, let's just get on with the show. It's having such a great Monday Night Raw. I don't want to ruin it.
I think you had the right idea. We're recording this on a Tuesday afternoon, which is earlier than we normally do. So I was up early this morning to watch Monday Night Raw, and I did feel a little bit of resentment. And I had Natty and Maxine Dupree going one-on-one on my screen. I did watch it, but it was a whole lot of nothing for me.
I didn't mind it. I like, it was quick. It was to the point.
It had a clean finish.
Yeah, it ended the feud, so I was happy for it in that regard.
Yeah.
There was no shenanigans. It was like, cool. If you want to give Natty like a bit of a run now and see where this character goes, this is now the chance to do it. I really hope they don't run it back, but
it's for Natty to kind of get into the picture of, wrestling probably full time again, and that's great. But if it's to bring Maxine Dupree up again anyway, I just think she needs a lot more training before you kind of put her in a title picture or on a main feud on Raw.
I've discussed this in the past. I feel like the names on Raw are too big, so she probably does need to move to SmackDown. I'm trying to think of like who some of the lesser names on Raw are. Ivy Nile, she's already feuded with. Natty, she's already feuded with. Who else is there for Maxine outside of Raquel and Liv and Stephanie? And I don't think she should be beating them. Whereas if she goes to SmackDown, she can beat Chelsea, and Chelsea wouldn't be hurt by it. In fact, it would just raise Maxine's stock. I feel like a move would probably do her well. Maybe even a little step away. I doubt she's going to have a step away this close to
maybe
Mania.
To NXT. Just put her back on it.
Maybe. I feel like that's a bit of a kick in the teeth for her work, though. Like I enjoy Maxine. I think she's generally likable. Would I run out of my way to see a Maxine match? Probably not. But I think there's something there to use. It's just a matter of taking your time a bit more with it. And now that she's got this behind her, I feel like they're good.
I think it's pairing her with the right opponent as well, because the title win against Becky was a moment that got the crowd on side and invested, and the work wasn't great, but Becky carried, in the most respectful way, carried Maxine to a passable match, a passable feud even, whereas I don't think you can say the same for Natty. And actually, Natty did the thing in this match that really annoyed me. Maxine went to grab an ankle lock and Natty was screaming before Maxine had even applied it. But anyway, I don't want us to like have a weekly pile on with these two, but hopefully if we're moving on.
I think with Maxine, it might actually benefit her to go into the tag division. The problem is finding the right person to pair her with. But if you pair her with, Natty would have been a great one before she turned heel. Someone who can really hold the ring, because she can hold the backstage stuff and be that likable, as a hot tag. I think Maxine would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just finding maybe the tag sort of ranks is a good place for her to sit for a while, just while she sort of develops a bit more confidence in the ring and develops her arsenal, for lack of a better term.
You had to drop them in somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah, well, we are top of the league.
They're
going to
win the league. Oh dear.
Very happy boy.
I bet you are. And if Spurs go down, good Lord, we'll never hear the end of it. Thumbs up. So Danhausen I'm still loving Danhausen on my screen. He is the variety that I need. At this point, I could take Danhausen instead of R-Truth. We have them both, and that's fine. But like Danhausen is scratching that same itch that I think R-Truth segments used to. It seems like they're already drawing a line under Kofi and Javon and being like, no, he said no, move on. Whereas Sanjay and I talked last week, Daniel, about how we were kind of intrigued by that Kofi and Javon pairing, but it's not to be. Danhausen comes along and goes to curse Kofi, and Kofi pulls Grayson Waller in front of him. And I just thought that's so simple, and I loved it. And Grayson Waller's taken off his shirt, like, no, it missed me. So I'm really enjoying all the curse stuff. It's over. It really is over. You can hear the crowd biting on it every time. I'm enjoying Danhausen. Sanjay, what did you make of I nearly called you Sanjhausen then, but I won't do that.
No, yeah, I do enjoy it. It is very entertaining. Even on SmackDown with The Miz, it's actually quite funny seeing them paired up. But the only thing I don't like is when he comes out, like the first time was to give free T-shirts and he gave a whole bundle to one person. And this time he came out and, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like the bit where he comes out to the ring. But the backstage stuff and the cursing with the superstars, that's excellent. I really do enjoy it.
I don't think that's supposed to, because I didn't get that.
I didn't get that this week. I did last week, but go ahead, Daniel.
I think that's just between the ad breaks, though, isn't it? That's the impression I'm getting. It's like he's coming out to do the T-shirt gun during ad breaks.
But then I guess there's a wider conversation we've kind of touched on before. We certainly talked about it last week, Sanjay, about how odd the commercial break system is with the programming at the moment, because we seem to be getting an awful lot of stuff on the Netflix feed that isn't like main TV show. So hopefully they can iron that out. But just one more match, I think, to talk about, which we've kind of seen before, but it built more for the Liv and Stephanie Vaquer feud. We had Stephanie Vaquer defeating Raquel Rodriguez. Liv was getting involved, and then out comes Io Sky to make the save. Sanjay, how are you feeling about Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan? I feel like it's kind of tailed off a tiny bit.
Yeah, I think since the promos where the backstage stuff were happening, it was fine. But I think they just last week was kind of just a small little fight. But then this week as well, I don't know. I just don't feel like they've done enough with the whole rivalry. It's just, I don't know if they ran out of ideas or it just doesn't seem entertaining at all. It's just kind of like, okay, we know they have a match, but what else? Like, there should be some sort of build up, make it a bit. They did kind of make it look like it went personal a bit, but I don't know. It just doesn't feel that great. And then I don't really want Io Sky to be in the mix because I'd rather have her have something else to do at WrestleMania. Just the reason why she's out there, I don't really know as well.
Well, I guess storyline wise, Raquel cost Io in the gauntlet, and maybe we're headed to Io versus Raquel, which I think it'd be a good match, but it does feel a little more thrown together than a talent like Io after the year that she's had. And maybe that's just the sacrifice of having Rhea airlifted into this Jade feud, and then Io's been sort of collateral damage for that. But how about you, Daniel? What are you making of Vaquer and Morgan?
I thought the Liv promo earlier in the night was really good. I liked how she was talking about, the breakup from Finn with the Judgment Day.
Her stuff with Balor was great.
Yeah, and then how she tied that in with Vaquer worked really nicely. She said, if you go back and watch it, she said so much in just such a short space of time, which I think was really smart. And I think it was even smarter to do it backstage, because I don't think she would have got all of that information across in front of the audience. It's building well enough. It just doesn't seem to be hitting that next level. And I like both women. I like Vaquer a lot. I love Liv. The match was fine. I mean, Vaquer and Rodriguez have had good matches recently that have been really good. I did think the Io rundown was a bit weird.
She didn't look like she meant it very much.
No, the only thing I thought is maybe they can sort of see how they go, and perhaps you have a four-way between these four women at Mania.
I'd take that at this point. I think.
So I mean, if the Vaquer and Liv stuff really isn't hitting that next level, then maybe you do throw Raquel in. Maybe you do throw Io in, just to, one, give them something, but two, just to add more stakes. Overall, it was a good match.
Yeah, there was a really nice spot. Raquel attempted a Tahana bomb.
Yeah.
He kind of lifted Stephanie up from laying on the mat, and she kind of fully lifted her up into that bomb position.
I was watching her trying to find her positioning, going, what's she doing? And then because she kind of went, I think, from the wrong angle at first. I was like, what's she doing? And then when I figured out she was trying to get in position to lift her, I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Really simple, but it worked.
So the only thing to talk about that happened on the show now, apart from the Orton stuff, which we'll get to, is CM Punk and Roman Reigns. Roman came out first, acknowledged me, and he very quickly called CM Punk out, and they had a very personal back and forth, as it has become. I feel like it was a lot more back and forth, kind of talking over each other and cutting each other off than we've seen previously. And Punk finally snapped and hit Roman after Reigns called him old. That seemed to be the trigger point where Punk was like, no, I'm not having this anymore. Lays him out, and then they are separated by Adam Pearce and some others. As the show goes off the air, Roman is laughing. I think he said to the camera, who's in whose head now? I'll cut to you first, Sanjay. What did you make of this latest promo battle between the tribal chief and CM Punk?
I loved every bit of it, to be honest. This just takes me back to the times when this Roman Reigns came back as the Bloodline formed. He's backstage with the Usos, few segments throughout Raw, and then him just coming out as just pure aura. And then CM Punk, I think he was great on the mic as well. For me, it was like one of those, that moment where it's like, I want more. Let's wait for the WrestleMania match. Keep bringing more segments in every week, because I'm enjoying it. It's just great to watch.
You go full right back and feed me more.
Yeah, literally.
Daniel, what were your thoughts on the? I mean, we haven't spoken to you, Daniel, since the previous week, so you could always add in any extra thoughts you had about Punk and the Usos from the week before. But
well, I suppose that ties into my thoughts at the start of the show, because I liked the Uso stuff last week with Punk. And then obviously at the start of the show, you had the Usos meeting Reigns. So there was two segments. I know I'm throwing it back a bit, and they just really felt, one did really well and one was just awkward. And I really loved how he arrived and then he grabbed the camera, and then it almost become like this old 80s style interview. I was like, that's really cool. You don't see too many people acknowledge the camera these days. So that worked really nicely. And then you had this sort of really I don't want to say poorly acted, but poorly acted segment where he's talking about his family. And I'm like, you've just done a really great segment there. And then you've just dwindled it for this one. I get why you needed to say it, but anyway, minor gripe. The segment in the main event, what really stood out to me was how good Roman is at the moment. Roman is just incredible. I love CM Punk. I mean, he's probably in my top 5 wrestlers of all time. And I think most people could agree that objectively, he's probably among the top 5 talkers of all time.
For sure.
Or very close. Like, I think a lot of people would generally agree with that. But I feel like this series or this feud has kind of not worked to his favor or his strengths. And I feel like Roman's out-talked him every time. You had the one a couple of weeks ago where, as I mentioned, he went for the low-hanging fruit, and I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
It's a bit bland. The promo last week before the Usos come out was good, but it wasn't exceptional, which is unfortunately what you come to expect from Punk. And then this week, opposite Roman, it come across quite meh. Like, Roman was really good in his promo again. And then the only thing that sort of he had in response was generic, I'm going to beat you babyface stuff. Again, love CM Punk, love his promos. I just feel like, and it might be because he is a babyface, I feel like these have been really hard on him, and Roman as a result has been really good. And I don't know if it's just that Roman's shining at the moment, but another week where Roman just was really incredible.
I think I agree that Roman has been certainly meeting Punk's level at a bare minimum week to week. And as you say, there's been plenty of times where he's exceeded that bar, which I think is to his credit. I wonder if an element of it is that we're seeing Punk week in, week out, and that he's having to do some of the heavy lifting. So some of his promo energy isn't able to be directed straight at Roman. It's directed at the Usos, or it's directed at just, is it great to be alive in insert name here. I wasn't that high on this main event segment. I think what my take on it was that we've talked before about how boiling point has hit with this feud a couple weeks ago. And I thought last week was really, really strong with Punk and the Usos. And I don't blame Roman at all for me not like enjoying this segment as much. I just think it was a 7.5 out of 10 week rather than a 9.5 out of 10 week, which still isn't bad, but I felt a little flat from it, except I really, really like that they've now had Punk snap, that there was finally something that Roman was able to say of, oh, it's the word old that gets you, is it?
See, that was another thing for me. It's like, dude, you just basically said, I'm going to bury you next to your father.
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting offended because he called you old? Like,
I kind of liked that, though. I kind of liked that there's, because I think every good promo has grains of truth in it. And I think maybe a grain of truth in Roman's recent character assessment of Punk is that he is pretending to be much, much nicer than he is in real life, quote unquote. And so I think that Roman did such a good job in that promo last night of sniggering and smiling and going, yeah, I'm a part-timer. Yeah, why don't you try and figure it out like your wife does? Like, like barbing at him again and again and again. And Punk is this babyface. And then Roman finally got him with something. And I wonder if now you start to see a bit more chipping away of that facade. What I'd really like to see next week or the next time Roman's on the show is I'd love to see his mask break, even just for a moment, and Punk finds something that he can pull on to get Roman sort of in a similar rattled frame of mind.
As I said a few weeks ago, I think Punk's at somewhat of a disadvantage in this exchange. And Roman actually pulled him up on everything last night. He sort of said, man, come up with something new. Yeah, I'm a part-timer. That's because I can be. Yeah, I do this. That's because I am. That's who I am. And it's like, you're saying stuff that I've been hearing for the last 5 years. Well, that's exactly why these Punk promos aren't hitting that level, because he's not getting underneath his skin. He's not getting into that personal attack. The one time he did, he sort of groaned. It was like, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I think they need a pull apart brawl at some point, and hopefully we get there pretty soon.
Yeah, there is more juice in the fruit, and they just have to
Yeah,
find the
without-
right point to squeeze. My only other raw thought was, I don't know if you heard Sanjay and I talking last week, Daniel, about it being 316 day, and we kind of set ourselves up there to be expecting to see Steve Austin.
I heard a rumor that he was going to be there, and then I was just like, oh, that's disappointing.
Well, I can't quite fathom that they plugged merch for it, which was all over SmackDown as well on Friday, and it was all over this show. But I just thought, what are you doing booking Raw in Texas on 316 to not then deliver some kind of moment? I was disappointed, but maybe that's my fault for reading too much into things.
I mean, I don't know what happened after Raw. I wouldn't be surprised if he come out.
Oh, they wouldn't
Who knows?
waste that on an untaped
I don't know. You'd like
segment,
to not
surely.
think so.
Surely to God, he's not in the ad
Yeah.
break chucking t-shirts with Danhausen. I did think after Cassandra and we spoke last week, didn't we, about maybe Brock Lesnar and Austin and all the history that they've got. And it was only during the week that sort of followed our chat that I suddenly just started to think, no, I don't want that. I want Steve Austin and Danhausen, or I want Steve Austin and Kit Wilson, or all three. Like, I think maybe there's a moment there at Mania. I don't know. I guess the only other big headline we haven't touched on at all is what happened on Friday night on SmackDown. The contract has been signed, despite our hopes and dreams for a multi-man involving Drew and Jacob and who knows who else. Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title is set, and it seems to be set 1-on-1. And we had a big heel turn angle on SmackDown with Orton. I liked the touch that Orton said before he turned, "It's not supposed to be like this. This isn't supposed to be you. This is supposed to be Drew," because that would have been easy, and this is really difficult. But yeah, he beat the absolute crap out of Cody Rhodes, bloodied him up huge, and concertoed him on the steel steps to close the show. I have some thoughts on whether this was the right thing to do or not. But Sanjay, what did you make of the angle? What do you see being the direction going forward? We obviously had Orton on Raw for a little bit too.
I did say before as well on the podcast that I really enjoyed Randy Orton back in 2009 when he was really proper heel, and I'd want that for him to come back. And if he was to face Cody Rhodes, then that would be pretty cool, because that was the same time Legacy was as well. So they were already in some sort of form of tag team or whatever it was. But I agree with Randy Orton. It should have been Drew and Randy Orton. But if it's Cody, then yeah, I'll take it. I think it's much better do it now than rather waiting until WrestleMania to have a moment like that. I'd rather have it so the build up to WrestleMania has some touch of, being personal, being bloody, gritty, something we can get out of it, rather than, let's just push Cody Rhodes over again for another WrestleMania. I'll take that.
I thought the attack looked vicious. It was in storyline, in kayfabe, whatever you want to call it. I think it works really well. I have thoughts about it that are a bit bigger than the segment itself. Yeah, the segment itself was really good, and I thought both looked really good. It's always good to see a bit of claret, for lack of a better term.
We were spoiled, I think, growing up with just how much blood we were exposed to in that sort of late Attitude Era. And so now when it does happen, it feels like a big, big deal.
Yeah, well, especially on WWE.
Right, of course, yeah.
But yeah, it was, the turn itself was pretty good. I'll share what I think after you say what you say. I'm interested.
Yeah, I liked the turn. My other thoughts aside, if I put those to one side, which unfortunately I can't, but like I liked the actual action of the turn. I thought, as you've mentioned, Daniel, the kayfabe reason for it being, oh, I've got to find something here because can I get it done against Cody when I was fully expecting to just be able to be my normal, happy, smiling legend Orton against Drew, and now I've got my, my boy, I think he was referred to as. I'll always be your boy. So I really like that kayfabe reasoning, the storyline reasoning behind it. I thought the turn was executed really well. The shot of Cody slumped against those steps, great. The finishing shot of SmackDown with Orton on that smashed up chair with the title around his waist, great. I just can't help but feel like they've turned the wrong one, because I do not know, nor do I think actually they're going to get the level of heel heat with Randy Orton that they need to, because Cody is not the universally beloved babyface that he was a year, 18 months ago. He's been getting more and more mixed reactions. We saw it with the Drew McIntyre feud, especially when they came over to the UK and they toured Europe, that Drew was getting the majority of the babyface, if you like, pops. And so this great turn was underscored by Randy chants, because the crowd prefer him. They're choosing him. So I just think that's going to create potentially a really awkward face-heel dynamic where we're getting presented white meat babyface Cody Rhodes versus dastardly heel Randy Orton, and all the crowd want to do is boo Cody and cheer Randy. So I couldn't help but feel like, if you were going to turn one of them, maybe just give Cody a run. And I know we've spoken before about merchandise and that sort of thing that maybe is stopping them from pulling that trigger, but I just think that would have been more compelling, maybe, as much as I enjoyed the actual turn itself.
What really stood out to me was, like, in the future, I can imagine us looking back at this and sort of going, probably not a great shout. It's going to be a good match. I think the crowd aren't going to respond, particularly the Mania crowd. I don't think they're going to respond well to Cody, and I've got a feeling they'll probably overly cheer Randy. People love Randy at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if they start chanting for Drew McIntyre during their main event match. And I feel like this is probably by their own volition, something they could have avoided had they done Cody, Drew, Jacob, because there was something really tasty about Cody. He was getting really good responses just 2 weeks ago when Drew was up in the crowd. You're going to throw that away and potentially ruin one of your top baby faces just for this marquee match. Now, it's a wonderful marquee match. I feel like it could have been saved for SummerSlam quite easily, but in basically relegating Drew and Jacob down to a grudge match in the mid-card and turning Randy instead of Cody, I feel like in hindsight, this time next year, we could sort of be going, probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know. This is speculation, but I feel like this is going to probably come back and bite them in the arse.
Yeah, I think to your point about the Mania crowd in particular, maybe not responding particularly well to Cody, I think that's what sparks my biggest fear, actually, is that I think Cody face or heel versus babyface Randy Orton would have been a great high pace, high energy match. I'm really worried that if they don't react the way they want you to heel Orton, they'll slow it all down, and Orton will be his methodical pace, and he will pace around, and it will be the slowest WrestleMania match since last year when we had John Cena doing exactly that. I hope that's not true. I hope that they can find a way to navigate this so that we get the Cody Randy match that we would like to see.
I think the only thing that gives me pause to think that they could avoid it is the fact that Cody is such an amazing talker. And I think he's actually quite underrated as a talker, because he could be getting booed quite heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it quite a number of times now. He will get booed heavily and then he'll turn the crowd around. And there's not many people who can do that. The Rock was really good at it. Cena wasn't always successful at it. Like, Cena's excellent at doing it, but he wasn't always great at turning a crowd around. And I think that was because they had a certain contagious venom amongst the crowd.
Right, and a strength of feeling for Cena in particular. Of it doesn't matter what you do or say, you are never going to be our guy, and we are never going to turn for you.
Whereas Cody, because we have chosen him at various points, because we still really like him, we're still open to him once he gives us that fire promo. I think long term we might look back on this moment and sort of say it was a bad shout.
Sanjay, who do you think Randy was on the phone to? Which was the Raw segment. Was Randy Orton talking to someone?
Yeah.
Seemed like quite an important someone before cancelling the interview with Michael Cole. What do you reckon might be going on there?
I'm not sure, actually.
It's intriguing, isn't it?
Names, yeah.
I've read The Rock as a rumor doing the rounds that maybe he's the one selling his soul. I don't know that I'd be here for that.
I don't think there'll be The Rock, because if he was to be involved, then I think he'll be more involved in CM Punk and Roman Reigns rather than, because that Give Me Your Soul thing that literally got cancelled, didn't it? So I don't think that would be The Rock. But who knows? Could be probably someone to do with Drew McIntyre, maybe. Or
I think it's interesting that he said wrestling has more than one royal family. You know, I heard Cowboy Bob Orton. Is the Orton family name?
I certainly received it as he's talking about his family.
Yeah,
but I didn't receive it as that being who was on the phone. I don't know why I didn't.
I mean, perhaps it could be The Rock. Maybe it's talking about the Anoa family. Anoa. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Anawai? Is that? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm probably saying it completely incorrect.
The Reigns family, the Reigns Rock Uso family. I've had this niggling thought for the past few days about one of the parts of SmackDown that I'm finding the most interesting at the moment, and that being Sami Zayn. I think his backstage segments at the moment are captivating, and I do not know where it's going, and I really like that. And part of me, and I don't know if this is really irrational, but part of me thought, is he talking to Sami Zayn? Are we going to get a big time Sami Zayn heel turn to screw Cody? And then he aligns himself with Randy Orton. And then for some reason in my mind is Aleister Black as well. And then we've got like the vision for 2026 is Orton, Zayn and Black. I don't know if I'm just plucking stuff out of thin air at the moment, but I can't wait to see where the Sami Zayn story turns. Because, I'm loving that at the moment each week.
Another name comes to mind is Kevin Owens. We haven't seen Kevin Owens in a while, and the last time was with Cody Rhodes, and he was a tag team with Randy Orton. So it could be Kevin
If
Owens.
he's fit to come back, I'd take that.
I'll definitely
take that all day.
And then that Sami Zayn could also be like, you know what? You're my best friend, you know?
Yeah.
So they could have a little thing against Cody Rhodes and maybe someone else he would team up with, but I hope it's Kevin Owens.
Yeah, me too, now you've said it.
It kind of works as well because Sammy and Kevin consider each other family.
Yeah.
Ooh, I mean, I heard Ric Flair, but Kevin Owens is a lot more interesting than Ric Flair.
And he had great chemistry with Randy Orton. I think when they had the RKO, team, I think it was.
Do they present themselves as a family, these three? Yeah, like Orton. I want to see Orton, Owens, and Zayn now. You've pitched it out there, Sanjay. We're buying on it.
That's a better vision than Austin Theory. And
well, it was not hard to clear that bar, is it? Anything else, lads, that you want to touch on before we wrap up with a quiz?
We did speak about last week about the Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill promos actually getting to that level of, you know what, I could see this as a main event. I think they're doing pretty much what we were saying that should happen as in the heated promos. And even last week on SmackDown, it's like Jade Cargill says something, Rhea Ripley comes out, she doesn't want to, doesn't want anything of it, it just comes out of the ring. I think they're doing a pretty much good stories to come in there, but a few more feuds to make it a little bit more, maybe just piss her off so that Rhea Ripley goes mad and goes back to her old ways and just very dominant in there.
This is Yeah, related to what we were talking about earlier with things having a boiling point or not, and I think this is simmering really nicely, given how many weeks we've still got to get through TV-wise. I think this is on a really steady, promising increase, and I really like that the physicality hasn't happened yet, and when it does, we'll know about it. I did think it was intriguing that, I don't know if you caught in the background of one of the shots, which Triple H loves to do his little background conversations that people are having. But Jade Cargill was talking to B-Fab backstage after the Meechin match. So I wonder if B-Fab will end up as Jade's accomplice at points, and then Rhea's got someone to have lots of physicality with, and you can keep saving the Jade Cargill physicality for closer to Mania, perhaps. But
it's interesting because I heard your thoughts last week about, and I really liked the idea about Jade coming and just like absolutely destroying Io Sky, and yet throwing back to this, earlier on in Raw, it's like, why are you getting her involved with Stephanie and Io when you could have got her involved with Jade? And but anyway, wait and see on that one as well, I suppose.
Yeah, we certainly will. Coming up this week on SmackDown, I'm looking. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre is on the card for SmackDown. I don't see that match happening. I see Drew coming out and saying, "I've still quit." I laughed because he quit at the beginning of SmackDown, and I actually recorded it here that he quit SmackDown for about an hour and a half before he came back to cost Jacob the match. So yeah, I don't see that match happening on Friday. The Bellas have been getting involved.
That's a weird one, isn't it? Because it does tie into Raw as well, because you could see they've got a lot of time for Nia and Lash.
Yeah.
And the Bellas are going to be at Mania.
Yeah.
Like, they're big names, particularly Nikki, I think. And who's the other one? Charlotte and Alexa?
Yeah.
It's like, you kind of got to have them as well. So it's like going back to the Bayley, Lyra, Asuka, Kyrie thing. It's like, that's 5 teams there. What sort of match are you going to do?
To your point, the Bellas are stars, whether we like it or not, and I don't. But the Bellas are stars, and they're going to be on the Mania card. I can't bear the thought of a team like Lyra and Bayley missing out because the Bellas are making up, say, the 4th team in a 4-team match. So I hope that they're just going to say, right, it is going to be carnage, but yeah, chuck them in some kind of. You mentioned if we hadn't have had Chamber, so just a few weeks ago, it'd be perfect for that kind of environment. But they're not giving us another Chamber.
But also, the Bellas this close to Mania, they're not going to be at Chamber, I don't think. Not as a tag team unit, because that's where I feel like there's marketability.
Yeah.
Save it for Mania. As much as, what your thoughts on the Bellas might be.
Oh, I can't. Like objectively, they are needle movers with a certain demographic. Like, it's undeniable.
Strangely enough, AEW Revolution was this weekend, and Ronda Rousey showed up.
Yeah,
right.
And then the talk of why is she there? And it's like, well, she's probably bigger than anyone that you've got on that show. And just out of curiosity, I sort of Googled who the top wrestlers follower-wise was. And it was the ones you expect: The Rock, Logan Paul, Ronda Rousey, John Cena. And then in there as well was Nikki Bella. And I was like, okay, well, there you go. Nikki Bella is a genuine name.
Yeah, she is. She's got huge crossover appeal.
And strangely, the great Carly. See? Told you that guy was underrated.
How have we circled back to the great Carly is underrated at the end of all that? Oh dear. We haven't spoken about Jelly Roll.
I like Jelly Roll.
I enjoyed his stuff, and I'm hopeful for a nice, fun tag team match at WrestleMania. Maybe Miz and Kit Wilson and Jelly Roll and Danhausen, or another. I don't know, but we'll certainly have a chance to touch more on that next time. Are we ready for a quiz, boys? Are you ready to try and get your title back?
I'm ready to take down the part-timer.
Part-timer? Where did that come from? They said the person who missed last week. Right, here we go.
I heard last week, he's like, Dan's not here this week, so I get to keep my crown.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you're going to no-show, then
Bloodline Ian.
the OQC, the original quiz champion, something like that. I don't know. So Sanjay, do you have a question to pose us?
So it's based on WrestleMania again. WrestleMania season. So I'm going to need the list of all female superstars who have had a wrestling match at WrestleMania. So 1 versus 1, no tag team matches, but all the women who've had a singles match in WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. Who's going
Okay.
first?
Champ
Oh,
goes
you're going
first,
first.
mate.
You're champion.
Come on.
You're the champion.
Come
You've got
on.
to defend your title, haven't you?
Doesn't even know the rules over here. Who goes first? Champ goes first. I'm stalling for time because I'm finding this really difficult. Let's go for Rhea Ripley.
Rhea Ripley is one.
Is it title matches, Sanjay, or is it just matches? Just
Any
one-on-one
match.
match.
So any
Okay.
one-on-one match.
Charlotte Flair.
Right. Charlotte Flair's.
Asuka.
That's right.
Bailey.
Yep. Bailey's one.
Sasha Banks.
That's right.
Bianca Belair.
Don't stop it.
I was thinking that would be the first name you guys take. But
Oh dear. Has Rousey had a one-on-one? But yeah, Ronda Rousey. Oh, don't tell me.
She has.
She must have had a one-on-one.
She had one with Becky, didn't she?
Well, she had the triple threat. If we're not counting triple threats, then I might have just stepped on a landmine here.
not on my list. I think she's been in tag matches, mixed tag match, and a triple threat.
Didn't she have one with Charlotte like a year or two after the triple threat?
List. I think Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey, wasn't it? Triple threat.
Yeah.
That was the first women's main event, wasn't it?
Well, I'll take the easy one then. Becky Lynch.
Yeah, Becky Lynch. She's one. That
so
title reign was a bit like Drew McIntyre's title reign before Damien came and cashed it.
So unfortunate news, everybody. This is the very end, the very last episode of the Smark Casual Wrestling Podcast. Getting shut out on the arm. Oh no, I can't believe it. There were so many others.
I would have thought Ronda Rousey. For some reason I'm thinking like Alexa Bliss or something.
Well, she was going to be my next one.
So I've got the list here. You've got Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, Alexa Bliss, Shayna Baszler, AJ Lee, Nikki Bella, Brie Bella. You've got Beth Phoenix, Molly Holly. You got Jazz, Trish Stratus. Got Chyna, Lita, Sable, Mickie James.
Lundra Blaze.
Yeah, quite a few names.
Back a ways.
Yeah.
Oh,
Champion.
congratulations. The champ is back on his throne. Well done.
Just like the Mighty Gooners on top.
Well,
That's a good point. We're playing Southampton soon.
my God, that's true. Oh no, I thought we'd avoid any football conflict, but
There you go.
yeah, the
So-
FA Cup. Well, the FA Cup quarter-finalist Southamptham, thank you very much. That's not
Yeah.
bad going for a championship team.
That's good for a small club.
Can't even argue with you, mate. We're not even going to make the playoffs, but frankly, championship is more fun and it's cheaper. So keep us down there for another year as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I will set you boys a question next week and hopefully Sanjay can get his first title reign on the go.
I mean, I would have had it if you didn't really cut me to the chase with the Goldberg when I was thinking loud, but
Well, if we're going to start here, it's all coming out now. It's all coming. So, truth be told, I said to myself Ronda Rousey and then thought of you and went, well, I'm going to say Ronda Rousey because of the Goldberg rule is in effect. But yes, all right. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's Smark Casual Wrestling Podcast. Please keep following us on TikTok and YouTube and all social media platforms. Subscribe, leave us reviews, and we will be back again next week with more. But until we see you next time, thank you so much, Sanjay.
thank you guys.
And thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
And a big thank you for listening. See you soon.